5 minutes. Because it's a very, very exciting and interesting. Today is like really culmination of our efforts. So tell me. Anybody wants to share something about what we've been doing, how it has impacted you? Since we are waiting 2-3 minutes. Thank you, Ramat. Same to you. So anybody wants to share how these new methods have impacted our lives? I think we are really very lucky to be in this time, this time. In the last 10, 20 years, there has been a lot of evolving of homeopathy, and we are really lucky to be part of it because, we've all been practicing for some time, and yes, we've had results definitely, but some places we were stuck. In some cases we didn't solve. But this has given us really a new way of learning. And, wonderful results sometimes we get with these new remedies, which we are going to share with you today. So, Vaishali, yes, you can get the first session. I also want to tell you that this will be our last session for this month. And you know that this whole group, this is going to be our whole, and this is what we have covered so far, is this much. Only the womb stage, yeah? Only this much. Only this much. It's not even 1/10, I think, of the whole. So we are going to take at least 6 months to finish just this group. We want to do it like we have been doing now till now. So what we thought was we had only given you all an opportunity to see if you like it and pay only for that 1 month. So all of you, of course, can become life members and you have to pay very little amount then. So what we propose is that it's 500 a month. For 6 months for life members, it would only be 3,000 rupees. And 1 month you already paid. So that makes it 2,500. And we'll give you 1 month off. So which means you have to pay only 2,000. Okay, that will be for 6 months. So from November, December, January, February, March, till April, we hope we'll finish this particular column 5. And for the other people who are not life members, but who always can become life members, they have to pay 6,000 for 6 months. 1,000 they've already paid for November. So it'll be 5,000 and we give you 1,000 off. So only 4,000. So it's either 2,000 for life members and others have to pay 4,000 if they pay altogether. We are not keeping the 500 per month thing because we are giving you replays so you don't miss anything. And anyway, you should be doing all of it. There's no point in coming in. And we have really not taking in new registrations now because the basic thing we have done, and I've so far been repeating a little bit because we wanted everybody to be on the same page. So yeah, this is what I wanted to tell you. And it's been very exciting being with you all, and we are very happy about it. I hope you're equally happy. The chats are giving us a lot of nice feedback. Yeah. Trupti has a question. She says, when patient is very caring, affectionate, suddenly shuns himself or distances himself from the person he loves, does it come under the rose family? It can come under the rose family, but we'll have to look at the cause of what it was. It was a hurt, then it is more likely to be the rose family. And if it was, for example, some other form of, then we may think of the previous ones, but most likely it will be, because most likely people distance themselves because there's a betrayal, or there is a distance, or there is some hurt, or there is rudeness, or whatever. So yes, it would come in this kind of family, and it would most probably come in this group of remedies, right in the womb stage and all. Because later on, they're very different kind of feelings we'll express as we go along. So let's begin already. Can everybody see my slide? Yes, say yes.
No, ma'am. No, not yet.
No, madam.
Okay. Okay, now you can see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm not doing any revisions. We have started the rose. We know we already done 2-3 remedies, Rosa California and all of them. Now today we have 2 more remedies left in this rose family. And you can see this is Rosa Damascena. Rosa Damascena. So just have we have Rustock, is a Rusty, Rust G, Rust V. So we have like that, Rose G, Rose D, and all of the other ones, Rose C. So this is Rosa Damascena, and I think most of us will be able to use it within this week, okay? I learned this remedy and I used it already, and I want to share the case with you. I already shared a little bit last time. And we also have a surprise for you. Somebody else also in our team is going to share her case with you. So that'll put the stamp. Yes, these remedies are really, really useful. And we'll be able to use it. If anybody thinks even of a patient whom they can use it for, then please tell us about it now only. Okay? Now means when we do the remedy. So these are old roses, the original roses, the pink rose. You saw the picture? So fresh and lovely. So these old roses, they are the ones which have the finest fragrance. And they are harvested commercially for that rose oil, which we use in perfumes. So I'm making that fragrant rose water and the concentrate. All of it, this is the one which is used. So this is archetypal. Archetypal means what? The one which really representative of the rose flower. Yeah. And it has this lovely deep color, and it is the original rose. I don't know if any of you remember. Nowadays we don't see it. So in my time, phone खाली खाली असेल का माहित नाही. फातिमा, can you just check? नाही असेल शायद. बनवलं तुला बनवायची आहे उज्ज्वला. सॉरी अबाउट दिस. उज्ज्वला तू बनवून घे जरा. Sorry. So it is, if you remember, it was that pink rose we used to really get, very delicate rose. And I still remember one patient of mine used to bring me, they used to grow in his garden. So he used to bring me that in a steel box because it's so delicate that it would break any other way if he carried it. A small steel box, it bring me one rose. And those are the petals we could eat. And I always ate them on the second or third day anyway, it would be dying. It is so delicate. So it is a totally agreeable rose except for the thorns. So it stands for earthly love, romance, heart, and pleasantness. It's known for its affinity for the ear inflammations and allergies here. So middle ear, okay? So middle ear infection. So colds which come and very soon it goes to the ear. Normally it goes first to the throat and it takes a little time to go to the ear. But here it goes to the eustachian and you get a catarrh very fast. So you have both the nose and the ear condition. So why in these roses does the pathology of the ears take so much precedence in the roses? Yeah, it does. It comes very fast. So whenever we have a case like that, where it goes, we have to think because there's a connection between the ears and the heart. Will you all please give me 5 minutes? I've forgotten to do some medicine. Case to mobile partner. I'm sorry about this, but you'll have to give me 5 minutes. Vibha, can you send this please to Ujjwala on her mobile?
What?
I'm sending you the prescription.
Okay. All right, ma'am.
And you'll have to guide her where the bark flowers are.
Previous slide, ma'am.
Yeah. So this proving of Rosa D was done by our own Dr. Chetna Shukla. She's my friend, and she did Rose, which has really proved very useful quite a few years ago. So it spreads, as I told you, it goes, the cold in a child also goes very fast to the ear. And it is because of the connection of the ear and the heart. One other nice slide. So it is the archetypal remedy of the heart from its emotional side. So, you know, heart and love also goes together. तुला सांग ना 5 मिनिट थांबायला पडेल. So heart and love always goes together, right? To love with own whole heart, my honey, I love you. All these phrases are always with heart, honey, sugar, so on and so forth. Yeah. So here also, very nicely, Dr. Fatima has made this thing for you. You can see the heart and the ear in it. Yes. And here also you have the heart with the ear in it. Yeah. So the Lord says that in order, Lord means folklore, you know, sayings which came from the past, that in order to understand that which is concealed, one needs to process what one hears with the heart. It's not enough just to listen. You have to listen with heart. So we understand that the hearing begins in the ears, but it needs to be processed by the heart to be assimilated and to be understood and felt. Unless you feel things, sometimes you may misunderstand. Okay. So that is why in Rosas, the heart, ears always go together. So the impaired heart may be paired together with an impaired hearing. You see that in one of the cases also. So the problems also, clinical problems that we face, a lot to do with the ears, the rhinitis, the tinnitus, and the hearing problems. So some cured cases present also with pneumonia. Of course, once you have ear, heart, then the cold will take its own course and go to the lungs. So it has a very congestive, the whole group has congestive tendency, and it comes up also in hormonal symptoms such as a lot of heavy menstrual bleeding, hot flushes, sweating, and premenstrual swollen breasts. You know, we often give remedies like conium, which also belongs to this group, calcarea. For premenstrual, they say so heavy the breasts are that we can't, any jerk in the auto rickshaw. I stopped taking auto rickshaws at that time. So much, they're so much painful there. So colds are accompanied also by congestive headaches, you know, especially sensation of pressure above the eyes, like spigelia or sanguinaria. And the physical congestion, therefore, they say, it comes along with the emotional congestion. Along with that, you have a very dry mouth. For cold water you desire. Patient is warm-blooded, and since there's congestion, there is also a red face. It may look like blushing. Hello, Rexy, you also want to listen? You also got a ear problem, no, with your cold? Yeah. That's my dog, okay? So, you may feel it's quick to blush, and then it has facial pimples. We'll see how facial pimples trouble them little later. So they have allergies, coryza, hay fever, rhinitis, all that I told you, and the deafness because of the eustachian cutout. So they may have hearing problems and the tinnitus. So in the homeopathic way, we treat hay fever and allergy with this remedy. With hardness of hearing, you may have to compare it with other remedies like Kalinur, Merck, Dulcis, which we use very often. And the eustachian tubes, of course, get swollen. So in Rosa D. Damascena, the themes that come up in the proving they are the aspiration to be very special. Special, you see how they have to be very distinctive. I have to be first in class. I have to not have anybody else climb in. Somebody reaching me, I may even push one book so that that person falls down. Yeah. So they have to be, but they have to do that very carefully. But nobody can know that they are kind of cheaters because they have to be sophisticated and very distinctive. Yes. A very charming person. So that will, they will call that person my friend. I will teach you. No, they want to be first. You may teach them, but only till they are still second or third below you. The striving for a nice and proper appearance is contrasted with these facial pimples. And they will complain of their pimples much more than their coals or the ear block. So that is what is visible to the world, and they don't want that. So they have this aspiration to be tall, taller than everyone else. And actually they are shorter, so they are very, very annoyed about that. Yeah. So I even, because they walk on their toes, the children, I even often say that they're walking on their toes just to be tall. Okay, it adds some 2 inches or 3 inches to your height, right? So one patient said, I wanted to undergo an operation just so that I could be taller. So much is their need to be tall. See, it adds, yeah, quite a few inches, no? 1, 2, 3, almost 4 inches. So they want to be taller, better than everybody. They want to be superior and still want to be righteous. Okay. And that superiority and their rightness and criticalism is often aimed at a sibling or a cousin. And they'll complain, my siblings got more than I did. This may not be true, it may be their perception. But for us, homeopaths, the perception is most important. And they study in order to be the best. It's not that they are so very interested or so just into studies, they have to be the best. I have a patient whom I'm giving lycopodium to, but he's really interested, but he wants to be also the best. And right now we are facing a lot of trouble because in some particular class, he doesn't get along with the teacher. And so he's not trying to be his best. So this competitiveness, which they want to be ahead of everyone else, is more the wish to be the best in the family, most appreciated. Oh, you know, you must follow Pooja. She is the one who does really well. Why can't you do as well as her? He tells, you know, this is like, remind me of the Rishi Sonak joke. So we had the head of Pepsi, his mother telling him, you know, see, Rishi Sonak is just almost your age. He's become the head of the country. So he said, Mom, yeah, if you tried a little more, maybe you can be the head of, he's the CEO of his company. No, but the mother wants him to be, yes, the head of whole of UK. So that was a joke. So they strive to be placed high in the hierarchy. Yeah. But they also want to keep that loving, caring aspect. They show at least all of that. And they remain sympathetic, pleasant, and rosy towards the others because they want to be in favor. If you're not good to everyone else, or at least seemingly good, then nobody will like you. Even if you're the best, they'll just say, yes, you be like him and studies are concerned, but don't give up your sympathetic nature. Then they will tell that. So like that, they are like Pulsatilla, says Hubbard, that they are nice, smiling, giving, and loving. Sometimes they may be even shy. So these are some of the rubrics, real rubrics that we have in the repertory. Dresses, best. Again, he has to be the best. So dressing, best that is. Dressing always colorful, you know. We had another rose. Remember I told you that patient came with a nice blouse with flowers on them. So it will be there in all roses. Some of these things will be common. Duty really aversion to, but will do because he has to be appreciated. And dwells on past disagreeable occurrences, like my cousin did that, or that one was given more favors, and that's why I didn't do as well and so on. Delusion, beautiful she is. And she wants to be beautiful. And she is beautiful. That's what she dreams. So that's why the facial pimples can really trouble her. Then when she's sad, it feels as if the cloud has enveloped her. That delusion is that the clouds are enveloping. And so the flowers have both sides to it. So as we know in the fifth column, it is the awakening of the ego when you become, independent. So this is the time when we need to be separate from others. And so this struggle is for independence and domination, as illustrated by the proving says, one of the provers said, my family is very loving and protective, but I no longer want that. I want to be independent. I want them to be not so protective of me. Let me be. Let me have a little freedom and assert my own independence. I don't want to allow, and I cannot allow anyone to dominate me. So now the thorns are coming out, So all their other points which were, covered up so far by being the loving, caring type, now they say, no, I want this. Whenever I ask for anything, I first say no. Then I think about it and I may even want it. Then in a certain way, I will say how, yeah, it'll be okay. Maybe, but they won't say, yes, I want it. Maybe, okay, I'll try. I don't want to be instructed. And as I was talking, I knew it was my ego that I was talking. They want to be appreciated and accepted, have good friends, but they are very easily angered by them if they don't toe the line or criticize them or go away. And you know what is the difference between lipo? I was telling you about that patient of mine who's very, very, very typically lipo. So he is the one lipo, what is the difference between that? Anybody can share on the chat? What a difference. They want good friends, but they'll be angered because they want to dominate and they want to be the best. What will be the lipo? Say, anybody? So lipo actually imitates people. So no, lipo imitates. So it wants to be like others. So I have this patient who actually had studied hard, and when the teacher was asking that, who spent the time studying because everybody else was into the preparing for the festival which they had in the school, he also kept quiet. But there were only one or two people who had really made that effort to do that homework. He was one of them. Majority of the class was in the middle and some were even worse. But he wanted to be with the majority. He wants to be carried with the peer. That is lycopodium. Lycopodium is also a plant, but it's a monotype. So it wants to go along with friends and be with them. Whereas Rosidea wants to have good friends, but they don't want them to be critical or go ahead, more ahead than them. So you saw the difference between that and lipo. So they are looking, as we saw in the other roses, always they have this, vision of this ideal romantic love, but it often remains unconsummated in adult. They either betrayed or they didn't need it, but that soul, my soul mate, that kind of search is always there. Dwelling on romantic feelings without it ever manifesting. So they are they are or unprepared condition of the first row, they are womb stage. So they want this, but they don't get it, or they may not be able to sustain it. Like one of our group just now asked me that whether, when you've been betrayed, will it come under roses? Yes. As children, they may be loving and affectionate, but when they become adults and they face relationship issues, because then you may have a man, maybe man wants to dominate more and then you don't want it. First you showed you're very loving, but then you didn't want the domination. So those also can be issues. Yeah. They're looking for romantic, euphoric, elated, sensitive love. And whenever you're looking for this kind of perfect love, which may not exist or you may not be lucky to get it, then you're bound to be hurt and tainted. Saw this horrible story which is on the newspaper every day about Shraddha. I cannot imagine how anybody can love anybody and then cut them up, not only kill them. That is one thing. It may happen in the heat of the moment, but to plan and cut them, it seems like barbaric. We cannot say animals. Animals don't do that. It's barbaric. I wonder what kind of a person it is. They admit to being idealistic, Rava. They're definitely not roses, yeah? They admit to being idealistic dreamers and even write love poems. But men, the Rosa men may hide their feelings. And otherwise, they can be charming. One of the rubrics we have is charming. Charmers, on the other hand, also may be shy for some other things. So this desperate need for love, maybe what they want from parents too. See, this heart, it is not only for one person. It may be going ahead with parents, with friends, everywhere. So romantic, but they are naive. When you expect so much from a person, that person is bound to fail your expectations. So naivety leads to lack of objectivity, self-delusion, and repeated errors in personal relationships. So you may have a person, rose may happen. It may happen that they have one marriage, separate, get a second marriage, same problem. Because the problem lies in them, in wanting and expecting too much, wanting this kind of a love, but still wanting to be the dominating one. So the rubrics of Rosidea is one of the well-proved remedies. It is there in the rubric. So charmers, cheerful, like we had agrimony, we said even with pain they are cheerful. They tell you their troubles also in a nice, cheerful manner. Remember agrimony, yes? So cheerful, gay, happy in the morning. Concentration is difficult sometimes when working. And contemptuous men off. So they think they are the best, what's called the cat's whiskers. So, yeah. So this is Rosidea, yeah? Mostly about love, about domination, about being the best, about wanting to excel, wanting to show everybody, wanting appreciation, wanting love, and wanting to be the one every mother says you be like her. But must be best. So then feels that somebody, cousin or sibling got more and I didn't get it, and so on, so. So we'll do some cases. And these cases are very interesting. And today, as I told you, in a week, 2 weeks, you will all find a case of Rosidea, if not already today. Yeah. So once you know the cases, then even other things, how they present is a very important thing. A young girl comes with a complaint of recurring ear infections to ear, heart. Remember, you never forget it now. She's a loving child who says her love feelings easily, even to the parents, to the siblings, to their friends, draws heart and dreams she's a princess with beautiful clothes. Remember Platina, when I did Platina with you all, how I wrote and wrote and wrote about that princess and the pictures, that book of Platina. I quite like it, one of my better books. So there is a romantic, naive, even clairvoyant quality to a character, and that is cured with this remedy. So it's not that the romanticism goes away, but the naivety becomes a little less. And that clairvoyance is very troublesome, I think, to people who connect with, the other world, mostly from the first subclass or the womb stage. Then it is very troublesome because you see it. Sometimes you see good things is good, but sometimes when you can predict bad things, becomes so terrible for you. You don't know if you can do anything about it and feel guilty if you can't do anything. And may happen just a day. I know patients who said, I saw my uncle's, accident just a day before, but I couldn't do anything about it. And it happened and he died and I felt really, really bad. Yeah, Jyoti, I'm sorry, she's making the medicine, okay? Tell him to wait, all right? An hour, not 1 hour, just a little time, okay? I'm in the middle of a lecture. I took your phone just to
It's
tell.
done. Ma'am, it's done.
Oh, it's done, Jyoti, it's done, it's done. He's giving it. She's So they had, this may even suit children who are really envious. A little baby crying, the mother picks it up. He said, no, hello, I'm your favorite child. So here another very interesting thing is they are children whose parents fight a lot. And so they develop ear infection. So you can't hear, they don't want to hear the dissonant love which their parents have. It's funny, really funny. Interesting. So that child with his ears, of course, cleared up. So the second case. It's a 4-year-old child, comes with swollen nose and polyps, a tonsil, adenoids, and a stuffed nose. Suffering from ear infection since she was 1 year old. So you can see how Rosa can begin very early. Sometimes the remedy remains with you all your life. Doesn't mean you'll have the problems all your life, but the remedy remains. So she had been suffering from ear infection since she was 1 year old and developed hearing problems due to that. She's very friendly otherwise, cheerful, hugging, kissing, all of that. Okay, and really she likes people. She loves when people come home and go away. You remember in agrimony we said they're very, very unhappy when somebody leaves. She wants to be loved. She says, I'm cute. Hello, I'm cute. Love me, love me. She's tall for her age and she's aware of it. She's not like that other child who wanted to be operated just to be tall. And she likes twirling on one foot. That makes you even taller, right? And also you get a lot of appreciation, saying, oh, how well you do it. When a mother gives attention to another child, she's jealous. This is there even in my lycopodium patient. Always doesn't like mother talking to any other child. She dreams of baby because she likes baby. But she dreams also of eating beetles and bees. We don't know the reason for this, okay? She was delivered by cesarean section. And her favorite food is strawberries. So the remedy Rosidea was chosen for this very reason, that she wanted to be tall, she wanted to be loved, she wanted to be cute, and she had a ear pathology. So with the remedy, her nose cleared up, her voice became less nasal, his polyps shrank, the cough and ear problems disappeared. This is Yakir's own case, so we can really trust it. Her stomach ache, head sweating, even the fears got better. Another case. A happily married man. This was a very interesting case. Happily married man, he was in his 40s, okay? Very energetic, a responsible boss. He had a big company, 2,000 people, and a loving wife. He was very happily married. He had a good company, he was in a good space. Just see, sometimes some people's antics can land you into trouble. He came with headaches, earaches, skin rash, and rapid pulse. So again, you have the trouble associated with earaches. There's no direct connection. So this all started after one married colleague started sending him very sexual SMSs since a year. So he was first a little surprised, never having thought of another. He had no time actually. A company of 2,000 people, he's not thinking of anybody else other than his wife. Now he started getting attracted to this fantasy. You know, in writing and in a new love, you write so many things. And he started getting caught up in this fantasy world and ended up falling in love with that woman or rather with what she wrote. And then because he was thinking so much about her, finally he gathered courage to talk to her and make it like a physical relationship. But she really was just egging him, and she eluded him and chose to establish a virtual sexual relationship with him. So you can have, phone sex, what they call. So that's when his symptoms started showing up because of the inner conflict and the split between this virtual idealized lover and his wife. Because anybody can fall short, na? And a wife always has some expectation, and whereas the virtual lover has maybe not having any. So here the analysis was that this naive, romantic, unrealistic love, along with the split with his soul, which was his wife, pointed toward the roses and the beginning of the fifth column. So his working, his managing capabilities, all that, leader when you become masculine, all that I spoke to you all in general, how the rules come in and your expectations and you start thinking more of the father and the work and so on. Yeah. With the remedy, this characteristic ear affliction headaches were gone within a week. He calmed down and he ended that virtual relationship and went back to his wife loving. So when we hear or experience or see these cases or treat these cases, we really fall in love with homeopathy all over again, right? And I always keep telling that in my next janam also I want to be a homeopath. Nothing as satisfying as this, because whatever you do in whatever other fields, it can never be like this, this kind of going so deep into what we call the person, the genes. We can do even genetic things. Very, very, homeopathy is the almost complete science, the best. Fourth case. So she was in her 50s, married with 2 children, and she was suffering from emotional, physical fatigue. She said, most of the time I feel so weak, sick, nauseous. Then I suddenly get a boost of energy, I can do the work, and then I collapse again. Her other complaints were eruptions on the neck, weekly headaches. My head becomes foggy, as if it's full, busy. I can't quiet it down. And it's constantly occupied with things that I need to be doing. So constantly thinking, what is the next thing on? So they're never at peace and therefore they are so fatigued. So busy and hectic, she feels she has to do a lot. She's just a housewife. This is another thing, A housewife really should be paid more than other company people. They work so much all the time. So she's just a housewife. So she thinks that she has to work without rest. Until finally the headaches make her stop. I need rest. So headache says, I need rest, I need rest. So much of the headache. And the headaches are normally congestive with above the eyes. I get afraid that things won't work out well, that I won't be able to manage, that I won't be in time for my appointment. But after half an hour, 1 hour goes, then my anxiety goes down. Headache stressed by other people's expectations. What they think are other people's expectations, that also stresses them and it comes. Worse in stormy weather, like rhododendron. And they appear in deep sleep. It's like a storm which comes, and then goes. So she is very sensitive, like all roses, mostly regarding children, sick people, and those lovely love stories. Like this husband, who died. But before that, he had written all these lovely love notes to his wife before that. So every day she could read one and still feel very happy. So it's related to loving each other, doing for the other. So always they are into this love, whether their own or a fantasy or a story. Sensitive yet romantic, naive nature, together with the malaria miasm, You know what? So today we are going to do the miasm that you all wanted. Okay, so you'll understand this a little bit more. So actually, I'm going to be doing only 2 remedies today because you all have been asking repeatedly for miasms, and also you've been asking for inner ages. We inner ages, it takes one whole talk, so I can't finish that in one talk. So I will do miasms today, and I will do inner ages separately next time with a lot of examples. Okay. So malaria miasm, malaria comes anytime. You never know when it will come. So it comes and goes once a week, and when it comes, stressed, raging, and suddenly it's gone. So all this pointed to Rosa D. With the remedy, the headache stopped, her sleep quality improved, and she became more energetic. So we did 4 cases, and now my own case. This was really exciting case. I told you all about the case a little bit last time, you remember? So she's only 7.5 years old. She came to us only now, recently, 15th October 22, for complaint of ADHD, mild, allergic dermatitis, and rhinitis. And as we have learned, walks on tiptoes. Diagnosed as tightness and shortening of the calf muscle. So she wears a splint when she comes home. But she is amazing otherwise. She's studying in grade 2. But she is wonderful in artist, loves writing poems and stories. Even drawing she's good at. She's a good artist too. But she cannot sit. Teacher says that, she is a good student, but she's so restless, she cannot sit in one place. Sometimes even for a minute, 5 minutes, she cannot sit. And she doesn't listen to instructions. She keeps doing what she wants. Mother has to tell her many times, go and have a bath. Till she shouts, she won't finally. She's sharp, sweet, intelligent, everything, but very hyperactive and impatient. She loves all that attention, makes friends easily. No. So this is one of her poems her mother sent us. See her writing, really nice. The world through a keyhole. Earth Day. Dick, Clark, and Julie had a goal. They wanted to clean the Gillory Park. They all worked hard, very hard. Then they had 2 bags of 5,000. So they had 10,000. They needed 20,000. So they took signs everywhere and finally got all that 20,000. Yes, we did it. So there was 2,000 was a mistake, where you can make little mistake. They collected 5,000 of cans in the 2 big bags, and they put all the cans in the Redley Center. Very nicely written for a 7.5-year-old. And the drawing is really nice. So yes, what do you expect will happen? So I must tell you what happened. Actually, she was so, even with us, she hardly came and went away. And she was like very proud of herself and all. So in our books so far, we had Viratram, Platina, such remedy. So we gave up Viratram first, actually, when she came in October. And so, yeah, within 15 days, we had a slight change, not much. And by which time I was doing much more studying of roses just for y'all. So on 16/11, just last week, I said, no, we have to give her Rosa D. So we had only the 30. So we gave 2 powders, BD for 2 days. Yeah, this is our usual way of prescribing. And we phoned today. We already knew she was a little better. Today is only the 24th. So within 8 days, we phoned the mother just to take the follow-up for you all. And the mother is saying the skin is definitely better. There is no itching, boils, cracks, redness, no, nothing is there. She said, tiptoe, I can't really tell you because most of the time she's in school and I'm in office. By the time I come back, she is also, wearing a splint, her splint, which they're giving for a calf muscle tightness. So she said, I'll have to look out for that. But when I asked the mother, how is she about instructions? She said that, yeah, I was thinking I'm spending more time with her and therefore she's listening. Oh, but for sure she is much better. She's listening. And, this is what happens with homeopathy. When they think that, oh, I also did this, I started doing this, and therefore the child is better. They forget that they've started homeopathy. When we say homeopathy is like the, loving mother's arm, you don't even know that, it is working for you. It doesn't give you any aggravations and things like that. So people think, oh, it is only due to me. Oh, is it due to homeopathy? Is it? Oh, I didn't realize that. And definitely less hyperactive. She said, she's sitting down. I said, for how long? 15, 20 minutes? She said, yeah, actually she is. I said, but you had said she only says for 1 minute, 4 minutes. People forget so fast. So your follow-up should be much better. I should once show you all how we do our follow-up. We have, 10 items. We have charts and we write them down. And so we can say one is better. So here, actually, we wrote skin here. If you want, I can show you the exact follow-up also that I wrote. But I wrote skin L0, means she was nothing, 0. So everything is on a scale of 0 to 10. So I wrote skin L0. Her instruction following had become definitely so much more better. So L5 and less hyperactive. From 1 to 2, 3 minutes she could sit. Going to 20 minutes is like so much better. It is, if you say even 10 times better. So it's almost like you can say level 2 or level 3, which means 70% better. So everything was much, much better. She said about tiptoe, she'll have to go to the doctor and ask how the calves are and whether that she'll go and tell us. But we are sure about it, that she's going to do quite well. Any questions? Yeah. So we have this nice, exciting wonder of wonders from another member of the team. Yes? Rama, are you ready? She's sharing another case with you.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
Rama,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah. Listen, I have added to this slides, but the colors
Yeah.
have changed. If you want original, I can give you the original also.
No, you can carry. You can.
Just see this. These
Yeah.
colors are okay?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. Rama, stage is all yours. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Vishpala. Thanks for this opportunity. This is exciting, like Dr. Vishpala said. This is a case that I have been seeing for the last 17 plus years. She doesn't live in Chennai anymore from a long time. And whenever she comes to visit her parents, she just turns up with her kids and says, hey, by the way, this is happening. Can you give me something? So that's how the relationship has been. She's a very nice, strikingly beautiful. In fact, when I saw Deepika Padukone, I said, oh my God, are they some related? She's absolutely model material. She's 40, very fit, exercising, very active, very, very beautiful looking and very attractive. And like ma'am said, they are able to be very charming and attract you very, very easily. So let's start with the case and I'll keep talking as it comes along. Oh, it's very different, is it? The colors? Okay.
Yeah, I'll go to the other one. Wait, hold on.
Yeah. Because the original, I think, would have been
it is
interesting.
there. I kept it. Hold on.
No, you want to go back to the main one?
I want to go back here.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I think you had it. Yeah.
I know,
Yes.
I have it.
Yes.
Okay, these are much better. Nice, very nice.
Yeah. Thanks to my husband.
Yeah. Mm.
So this is the essence I thought of Rosa. This is when I studied Rosa. And I'll come to that. I'm jumping. So what did she come with? She started with the typical, yes, ma'am. She started with a lot of symptoms. She's 40 years. This is when I retook the case, because she came with a lot of simple things. It would, as and when you'll give, and she'll come when she's down, and then you'll give some Ignatia, then you give some Netramor, you'll give some, then you feel, oh, maybe she's an animal remedy, maybe you'll give maybe Ophida, maybe this, maybe that. And that's what was going on all these years. She'd come once in 2 years or so. Then she came one day with her in the first week of May this year with SLE markers, cancer CA 19-9, which is pancreatic cancer markers, elevated. Of course, her PCOD continued. Then she had a dermoid cyst. The rest of it was already part of her ongoing treatment, upper respiratory tract, UTI, acidity, lot of issues, adenoids, tonsils, not polyps, but always the nose would be blocked. And anything and everything would affect her, and she would go into depression, very low. And she'd come out also. She'd brood over it for some time and she'll come out of it. But this time she was really down, because she said, oh my God, this is cancer. Because there's cancer in the family. Her father had died 4 years ago of cancer of the kidneys. And she really was very, very anxious that, can you do something about it? I know these people will be able to only do chemo and radiation and things like that, but I want to stop it before it comes. This very determined person. I said, okay, let's look into can you give me some time? She said, yes, tomorrow I'll come. So she came the next day. And this was the family history that we already had. There was diabetes on both sides, hypertension on both sides, and the recent death of the father. In her history, she had chickenpox, malaria, and tonsillectomy, all as a child. She loved hot milk, chocolate, juices, soups. There was a tendency to constipate. She didn't like summer. She was chilly, but she liked a cool ambience. There's nothing very special about the physical generals. So I said, let's look into the life space. So this was the life space that she started with. Yes, ma'am. Now, her father was this very rich businessman, very successful, very dominating, and abused her mother was a simple homemaker, and abused her very badly. He even was cheating on her. He used to drink every day. And our patient was the older of two girls, and she would be all the time be, Papa, don't do this, Papa, don't do this, Papa. But Papa never listened. And so she would be clinging to the mother. And the mother would say, Beti, you have to grow up to be a very good housewife, learn properly how to cook, to manage the house. This was pray every day. This was her mother's instructions to her. So this very abusive house is where she got married into. But she wanted to study. Like ma'am said, she wanted to be the best. And she wanted that father to appreciate her, that she could do something, maybe, is what I feel now. And she rebelled with her mother and went to the UK for her college. And there she finished college, worked for some time, and then she met this young man, same community, who was very listening, very caring at that time when they were courting in the UK, and sometimes made her laugh. And she said, wow, this is the guy I think I'm going to get married to. She fell madly in love with him. And they got married when she finished and came back to India. Now he was a richer guy, and they had many businesses in north of India. They lived in the north, a small town. And so she relocated there, and she immediately started working in one of the husband's own company. But every time she would come up with a proposal to modernize it, add more technology, expand it, he would put it down. Immediately he would put it down. She was wondering what happened, to that boy. whom I had met in the UK. Why suddenly this? There was no appreciation. Her in-laws were quite indifferent. This is a large joint family with several brothers and their families living together, and nobody really cared for this young couple. And so she was trying her level best. And then the husband's business started going to a loss. So she just walked out of that and said, enough is enough, and went into another business of one of the in-laws, a relatively better communicating in-law who accepted her business acumen and things like that, and started doing well in that. But even that, after a while, came to a halt. So then this friend whom she had made in the neighborhood was having a small store. She said, okay, maybe we will, work with her. And she started working with her. And then she had all these plans to expand. This wanting to be the best, as ma'am had said earlier. This is one of Rosa's characteristics. At that time, I remember giving her, I think, Veratrum, Platina, all these kind of things. Ignatia, of course, tons of Ignatia. She's had Ignatia all the way, all potencies that you can imagine. Natrimur in all potencies. Nothing helped her. Nothing held her for long. Then that friend also, no, ma'am, please go back. Please go back. Then that friend also didn't like the way that she wanted to quickly expand. She was a very simple girl from small town and didn't have the vision, didn't share the vision of this girl, of my patient, who wanted to, go global with a handmade product. So that relationship also ended. That work also ended. In the meantime, 2 kids. Then the husband had a minor heart attack. So she just gave up everything, spent the whole year with him, trying to get him back to his feet, trying to inculcate better habits. She was like a driven, absolutely, because relationships mattered to her a lot. And then she found out that this husband started becoming lazy after this. He would not go to work so much. He would start handing her all the things to be done at office. And he was slowly cheating on her. It was like her father's stuff coming back to her. He was also drinking a lot. But the kids, the very, very loving kids, they're like her, very beautiful. You just want to cuddle them and pick them up. And the kids, for the kids' sake, she continued to stay in this marriage, abusive marriage. The husband would fight with her, argue with her, put her down in front of others. But she just continued. In fact, her Chennai friends would say, hey, why don't you just get out of this? Why are you wanting to do this? And she said, no. The kids need a father. They need grandfather, grandparents. I can't come out like that. And of course, her mother never encouraged her to come out of it. In the meanwhile, her father fell ill and then was diagnosed cancer. So she just left everything and came to Chennai with her kids, put the kids into a school here in Chennai, because she knew the father needed a lot of care, but he passed away. And that's when all her big issues started. Now her dream of wanting to start her on her own, be independent, was just not happening. And 2 years after her father passed away, she went in for a divorce very amicably. She was very nice with her husband. He also agreed, very nice with her in-laws, very amicably. Even now she goes back for any functions. She stays there only in the north, and she attends all family functions with her children. And they still seem very nice and pleasant with her. This was her core issue. When you went back and understood what the case was all about, this was what it was. She wanted unconditional love right from childhood, exactly as ma'am said. Actually, my hair was standing because ma'am had already given in the general introduction to Rosa exactly what this patient was undergoing. Of course, I did not know this remedy. 6 months ago, when I studied this remedy, and that's when, oh my God, the aha moment came. This is what I was missing out. So this is what the core issues were. This unconditional love of parents, which she never got. She had a sister whom she never bonded with. She was much younger, 5 years younger, and completely different set of interests, friends. They never bonded. Then she thought her husband would fill in that vacuum. Even that remained a vacuum. In-laws, no love. No. Close friend broke up the business and the relationship. The business failed. So on all fronts, whether it is love or work, nothing worked for her. And she wanted this continuous love she was in search of. प्यार किया तो डरना क्या, प्यार किया तो डरना. This used to be sometime for a long time her call tone. So, but she was disappointed. And every time she would be disappointed in a relationship was when she would get that cold, that allergic rhinitis. That would happen. The nose, the ears would block, the nose would block. She would have a sinus headache. And she would say, she would email or call and say, and you would give the usual, Calibake, etc., etc. Nothing really. It would still keep coming again and again. This periodicity of complaints and this periodicity of being disappointed in love, Disappointment in love is not just Ignatia Netramo. That's what I really learned from this case. More to it later. So here she was disappointed, but she was forgiving because she kept hoping that she will reunite. She kept hoping that her husband would come back like this knight in shining armor on this white steed and, swing her, take her away. She always kept feeling that, but it never did happen. So she had to let go, but very, very grudgingly. So this conflict with masculine and feminine values. So the masculine value is to work, to earn, to be very hardworking, to be independent, to make a name for yourself in the outer world. And the feminine values was this love, nurturing, relationship, giving, valuing people. This was the eternal conflict for her, the duty or her desire. All the time, this was what was happening, this split. She was very ambitious. She was very hardworking. She would take a lot of risks, but she was naive. She would always say, ma'am, why is it that I cannot understand why they cheat me? I'm forever being taken for a ride. Because she would trust the other person implicitly because that is what she was operating from unconditional love. So she wanted this, she thought everybody had this unconditional love. Of course, it never happened. That was not what reality was about. And she would be very weak, and she always felt she needed a partner, she needed a support. This was very peculiar for her. With all her ambition and hardworking, she was naive and she wanted support. So she needed a partner, she needed the in-law support, she needed the husband support in business. Though actually she was very accomplished. And I haven't put down here, which I missed out, was active, ultra active. I mean, you would think she was, I remember giving a sepia in the beginning because exercise always helped her. You remember all these stupid one-liner as your keynotes and you prescribe with keynotes in the beginning. Of course, it never helped her. She was never indifferent. So this is how I looked about it after listening to Dr. Mahesh Gandhi and the personal evolution method of understanding remedies, this new contemporary homeopathy, which encompasses the universal way of looking at energy in our medicines. After all, homeopathy is energy medicines, and how we can apply this energy to the person who's suffering on the other side of our table, and what magic happens. Please see. So this is what the analysis was about. So what was she? She was driven to understand what did she do to overcome or to come out of this mess of relationships, because she was already very spiritual. No, she was already part of the other world in that sense. Naive, no? Very womb stage actually. Very quickly would meditate. You name it, and she would have tried every kind of meditation. She even went to the Dalai Lama. She even stayed in Dharamshala for a week and did a personal meditation course with him. She was that driven to somehow spiritually cure herself. She's tried all kinds of past life regression, transactional analysis, sound therapy, gong therapy, gong bath. She even once went to Norway to do ice bath and hot bath in alternation, which they said would help relieve the mental afflictions. And she went through something like 20 plus counselors and life coaches. But that inner loneliness remained. This was her core. Active, competitive, but desired support, because she felt she needed that other male to complete her. This desire for a romantic love. In earlier days, when she was younger, it was the parents' love. Later on, it turned to romantic love. So that was not happening. So what was she doing in the meantime after the 1 minute, ma'am, 1 minute. Yeah, this is fine. This is fine. Please bring it back. So what was she doing when she was when after the divorce, when she was still searching for this love, she turned to a lot of dating sites and went through something like 5 short-lived relationships, even more hurt than the husband, because they only took her for a ride completely. She was dependent, she was timid, she was naive. This anxiety of conscience she had because she went through this dating site, she felt she had a lot of good values. The way she would dress, the way she would talk, her communication, her English was superb, her choice of words, very, very elegantly dressed. She was never loud in her dressing, but very, very elegant. She was very attractive, but never in the face. This kind of sophistication, this kind of aristocracy about her. No? And a lot of silent grief. She would never cry in front of others because she felt she could not hurt others. So the grief was always inside. The anger was always inside. And then this overpowering fear of always being alone now. Hey, nobody will be there. My knight will never come. My knight in shining armor will never come for me. That continued to remain with her. Yes, ma'am. So the remedy chosen was Rosidea. From the Rosidea family, Rosidea. Why? Just hold on, ma'am. Why was this remedy chosen? One, this womb stage, this dependent, this timidity, this fear of being alone, this desire support all the time, this quickly going into the other world to try to solve her issues. It was not, she was wanting to solve a worldly issues through spiritual means. This was a very womb stage like way of responding to a situation. What were her issues? The split between the masculine and the feminine principles. And how was she responding? Not like an animal. There was no competition. She might be a little worried about somebody being ahead of her, but that was not her main issue. She wanted to be the best. She wanted to be the topmost. Not a mineral, because she didn't feel that she was inadequate. She felt she needed the male support because of love. Love was her way of, her experience of life was through love. And love was, though you felt, okay, maybe it was Ophide, maybe it was insect remedy because of that activity and wanting a mate. But no, she was extremely soft, extremely gentle, extremely good. Just like as she was outside, she was inside. Looks mattered to her, yes, because of that attractiveness that was part of the Rosa family. You feel it will be an animal, you feel it will be an Ophide, but it is not. It is not, because there is so much of naivety and goodness that it overpowers. There's no shadow side. She's very open. She'll tell you her weaknesses to anybody and everybody. She's not at all open. I always wonder how she ever did well in business, because she would lay out her plans on the table very easily. So Rosa, and because of its the high sensitivity and the high reactivity, it was a plant kingdom. The split between the masculine and feminine was subclass 5, Rosidea family. The womb stage, because the ego was just forming, it was still not fully formed, no. So she was still in the feminine. The feminine element was still very high. Love and nurturing was as high as the business of wanting to achieve in the outer world. So Rosa and Rosidea, because of repeated upper respiratory tract infections. Later on, I found in the Materia Medica that it also helps tumors, cancers, of course, the female reproductive system, male and female reproductive systems, along with the acidity, etc. And what was the result? She didn't turn up for about 5 months. So I had completely forgotten about it. And then one fine day, she turned up 2 weeks ago and sent her blood tests. She just sent it first. And I said, wow, I emailed her back and said, wow, this is amazing. What have you done? What did you take any allopathy? She said, no, ma'am, whatever you gave me last that was all. That was all. I haven't taken anything. I haven't even taken biochemics after that. And I could not believe it. So I sent my results to Mayo Clinic. And they have replied back saying everything is normal. Her SLE markers are 548 in May, first week of May. And 2 weeks ago, it was 48. She couldn't believe herself. She just couldn't believe it. Nor could they. The CA19 markers were in their high 30s, has come down to 6. She is completely normal in that sense. More important, she has finally let go of that husband and in-laws. She's no longer worried about wanting to find a knight in shining armor. Whenever that thought comes, she just lets it go. She says, now I'm not longer worried. I know it is somewhere in back of my heart, it is still there, but it is not overpowering me. She went back to her place of residence in the north. She opened a cooperative of organic farmers. She started her own company. She's marketing their products pan-Asia. Her markets are all the way up to Vietnam. She travels frequently. She has found a full-time nanny for her kids. She's planning to put them in a very spiritually oriented boarding school so that they get good values. She has gone back to her friends. Her friend circle has improved. She is more radiant, more beautiful now. She's completely adopted a healthy lifestyle. She says, I'm very happy at this slow pace. I'm no longer in that hectic pace of life. I walk every day. I do an hour of yoga. I'm very conscious of what I eat, of what I think, of what I say. This awareness, this satisfaction of 3 doses of Rosidea, that's all but that was given to her. It was all SL after that for a month. This, I think, is magical. This is homeopathy. This is what Dr. Hahnemann gave this spiritual science to us. And I'm sure after what you listen to ma'am, and if you have any of your Ignatia cases, Natremur cases, Staphylococcus aureus cases, Lac caninum cases that have not been doing well, please re-look into it. Maybe they're Rosidea, like I found out. Jai homeopathy. That's all I can say. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Anjali, for helping me with my slides. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Really wonderful case and fantastic result. You explained it very, very well. So
thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. That's all the NGH training.
So yeah.
Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. So we'll take our last rows and we still have some 20 slides balance after 30 slides. I hope you all are prepared for a long haul. So we have rose G. So this is the French rose and the proving is done by Nancy Herrick. Again, this is also a pink rose and it brings up issues of relationships and companionships. So much emphasis is on the way she's perceived in society. You saw in Rosidea, she was not always worried about her social image. When she felt she wanted to leave, she left. When she could go back to whatever level, we don't know. But she's gone back to the north and started. So not so concerned about her social image and what they think of her. And whenever you are concerned with that, you're always very much more talkative and communicative. Because of this, so each thing is due to some problem. We saw in the Rosidea that they don't want to hear something, so they hear. And here, because you talk so much, so mouth-related pathologies, herpes, rashes, gingivitis. Exams are very stressful. All issues in school are stressful. So also social relationship and friendship, because they want to keep them all. In Rosidea, we saw that he wanted to be above it and everybody should listen to her. Here, she wants it close. Okay. So friendships and relationships tend to get always a problem. They're dramatic and complicated. And she reacts with much weeping and anger. Rosidea also may be having weeping and anger, but here it is much more. So tears, anger, guilt show up around puberty because guilt because you may be doing things. Guilt was there, we saw in Rama's case of Rosidea, where she had 5-6 quick relationships trying to work it out and then felt guilty about it because it didn't work out, number one. And number two, she then finally stopped trying. And hormonal disorders, again, that is there in Rosa, more all the Rosas, but much more in this, hormonal disorders. And in there also you have all the bleedings and you saw even the cancers over there. So here it brings up symptoms like anger, accused and broods over unjust accusation. over a social status and power, which is again in Rosa D also. But here she wants a lot of respect. There she wants a lot of appreciation and wants to be acknowledged for whatever she's done. Here she is not respected enough. So the need, or rather wish, to make a good impression, accomplish important deeds which will make a difference, is countered, saying my fault, my fault. Rosa D doesn't feel that. And therefore, it leads to some inaction. She may not take action because she's very much into criticizing own self. And this is like, the first womb stage, where before the pre-active stage, what they call. She's also, there are very contrasting things. She's pleased with herself when she does something good, but also delusion that dirty, when she feels that guilt and all coming up, and she did something wrong. So, there's a kind of a seesaw and lot of self-deprecating attitude, which is not there in Rosa D. And they constantly measure themselves against others. Rosa D thinks they are the cat's whiskers or the supreme, so doesn't measure against or compare. So it needs a guardian angel, whereas Rosa D is support. And here also she wants to be a guardian angel and saving others. So this Rosa G can be like Florence Nightingale, to help others, or contrasted again with some irresponsibility, which is not there in Rosa D. Romantic issues come up in all the roses. Dreams about social relationship, past lovers. And you saw even in Rosa California that it was about somebody who was there in the past and still loves her. So thoughts about, here it is unrequited love. Not loves her, but it was not loving. So there are a lot of commonalities, and we should. I last time also asked you all we must make some few liners to differentiate all the various roses. In fact, all the roses. So it is very pleasant and sympathetic to others' suffering, not so Rosa D. You'll see a lot of emotions in the case, excitement or sadness in the heart region. There's a lot of, because more emotional than Rosa D. But in Dr. Rama's case, we saw that she was, But we didn't see very many examples of real sympathy for others. So I'm sure there was much more self-centeredness in Rosa D. They are sensitive, easily moved, tend to fall in love easily. True for all roses. Children who suffer from a lot of social issues at school. I'm sure the Rosa D also suffers from a lot of issues, but they are all due to them being dominating here because they want to get along with everybody. There are a lot of Facebook dramas, relationship problems with friends. They tend to cry a lot, not like Rosa D, and have psychosomatic headaches. Headaches may be similar but it is more in the frontal region. In the Rosa D, you have more above the eyebrows. As in other hormonal remedies, they have craving for comfort food. So sweets, starches, you have that. And you saw in Rama's case when she gave up sweets. Lot of things about concerning money, sensuality, temptation, and gambling. We have not seen in the other roses so much about the gambling. And this is the most changeable of all the roses. Most changeable, like pulsatilla. The emotional congestion, which we also saw in Rosa D in the face and all that, manifests in feminine physicality as congested uterus, excessive bleeding, menses may be too long or too short, and strong sexual desires and lot of uterine pathology. So sometimes it may be difficult to differentiate the two. We have to see the personality and the type of person. So we have done 466 cases of Rosa D. So, I'm sure it is much more clearer to you. today. Pains are in the right breast, radiating to the heart, not the left breast, right breast, going to the heart, and a lot of restlessness around them. The headaches are throbbing, like crying with the headaches. Again, ear afflictions, which are there in Rosidea, and discharge. Blocked ears, which come as concomitant to many complaints. This is true of all the reasons. Okay. So we have done all the roses. Actually, we have one or two remedies. Prunus spinosa is the most important remedy left of these roses. After that, we'll start the myotales. But
Ma'am, can I just add 2 more sentences?
yes, please.
On Rosidea, which I forgot. I just saw my notes. I remember some time ago, a few years ago, when I asked her, who in the world do you like the most? Because she would always talk about, I want to, own my company, etc. And she'll say, I think I'm a lot like Princess Diana.
Oh.
That is really Rosa D for her. No, the love that never got, that she wanted but never happened.
And never happened, and plus she did like herself the most.
Yes, and like Princess Diana, my patient went through phases of anorexia and bulimia. She would suddenly go on this binge diet, because sugar and etc., and then feel, oh, that's so bad for me, and then go on this other kind of diets.
Also because she wants to look the most beautiful.
Yeah. I just wanted to add that. Sorry.
Thank you. So can we start miasms? We finished roses. We are doing what you all wanted. Is that right? What you all wanted? I hope all the people who asked for it are here. So we are going to do miasms. We have some slides, and I'm going to try to make it quite clear to you all. So the old miasm we had originally are sora, which we know is the skin and the rash. The psychosis is slow growth and warts. Tubercular, which was added later, and more to do with hectic activity, respiratory tract, nose block. Syphilis is the last, destructive and degeneration. I used to always draw that circle. Should have drawn it for you all. I will speak. Oh dear. Okay. Okay. So we had all these. Sora was functional, psychotic, structural began, syphilitic was destructive. Then we had this tubercular was added later, and we know all about that. So I'm not going to spend much time there. Then Rajan felt, I've had this discussion because there have been so many fights in the homeopathic world about these miasms. There are lots of people who don't accept these new miasms. I said, why didn't you just call it something else and at least we won't have a fight? He said, no, but they are miasms, because I found that in between, there were stages which were not covered by anything. So he added, it has to be in these miasms. These 4 or 5 miasms, okay, acute also were there earlier also, but in between them, there are so many stages which were just not covered. So I had to add here only. Yes. So this is that book schema, which I'm sure, I hope some of you have it. Some of you can acquire it. Talk to Dr. Vibha if you can't buy it. Okay. So miasms, which we already had, only covered some. But now there are so many inner ages. Inner ages means not the actual age, but what you are inside. We saw this girl of 40. She was still in the womb stage. Okay, just like somebody else will be in adolescence. When you have a lot of fire to do many things, you will be in adolescent stage. We will do that later. So it is not according to years. You have this young girl where inner age of this old woman inner age is still 16. She wants to learn to play. Yes? Physical age may be 65. Not important. Only your inner age is important. So it will tell you about the inner conflicts and the mental stages, and they are not covered by the 4 existing miasms. So the acute miasm is sudden, violent, aconite, comes suddenly without any warning. Panic gives you fright, terror, you can just fall. So this fear, you're just coming down and you can fear that you will fall completely. Very infant-like. So it's a dynamic disease causing agent which causes specific infectious disease having fixed manifestation. There are 2 types. It can recur more than once, can come suddenly like yellow fever or cholera, or non-recurrent, because fixed miasms happen only once. Smallpox or whooping cough, exactly. They said if you once got smallpox, you won't get it again. So that is the acute miasms. You have remedies all in the acute phases. Then you have the typhoid miasm. Okay. So what is the difference in typhoid? Let's look at the typhoid disease. So the typhoid disease, how it comes to you, suddenly you have fever, and then it stays with you, getting less, and then it goes away. So it goes away and then it's gone. So it was a crisis, it was intense, it made you panicky, yes, it was an emergency, very critical, but it's gone, then it goes. It may have left you collapsed, very weak, you may have lost your hair, all that, but once it's gone, it's kind of gone. So then you say, oh, okay, so I did get well. So then you become hopeful. In typhoid, you're hopeful that you will get well. In typhoid miasm, I'm saying. In the disease, while you're in the throes of the disease, you may not know whether you're getting well or not getting well. But you want to get well and you struggle to get well. And then when you get well, you're hopeful. It doesn't make you all the time be in stress. Will it come again? Will it come again? So that is typhoid miasm. Always hoping that you will come out of the crisis and that you will get well and then it will go. So it is like the child. So it is between acute and SORA. The feeling is that the situation is very critical. It threatens life, but if handled properly, will end in complete recovery. So you may be completely well and nothing may happen. You may say, yes, I have this hair fall since typhoid, but that is all. Other things will all go away. So tremendous effort, concentrated effort over a long period of time, but that effort pays you back. You reach well state. You reach a position of safety and comfort. So it is like a severe threat and panic, intense struggle, but that thing that you will come out of it, and optimism. So you have Naxomica, gelsemium, phosphoric acid, very weak, but you'll come out of it. Baptisia, rustox, and so on. So malaria miasm, let's look at the malaria as a disease, okay? So you have malaria miasm, so the fever comes. Then it goes away. So you had fever, say, and it's gone. So you say, oh, very good. It was short lasting, 3, 4, 5 days. Yes, it was very bad, but it's gone. So I'm well. So it's okay. Suddenly, after 3 days, 2 days, it's back. So you say, okay, maybe just a little bit was left. So it came again. But again, it goes away. Then after a week, you think it's gone. Next week, Saturday, it's back. So now you say, God, this disease can come back anytime without warning. So then you start saying, when will it come? When will it come? So you're always looking over your shoulder and saying, when will it come? Because it comes without warning and never comes. So it's a very hopeless kind of a state. I will never get well. Very negative feeling. You said typhoid, which is very hopeful. You have malaria, very hopeless. Now you translate this into the mental state. Okay, very suspicious, impatient to get well soon, but very negative that I can get the attack anytime. Anytime anybody can attack. So, sorry. So it is like as if I'm obstructive and I'm hindered. I'm stuck. I'm powerless because I'm dependent position. I can't do anything. It can come back. Then it is gone. I really think it's gone. It comes after a month. Then it comes after a year. I have lots of patients who say, no, malaria come back every year. And then you give the homeopathy, whatever is indicated, like China and Atramure. And it goes, then it doesn't come. But they won't believe you till that 1 year has passed. Yes. So they feel very unfortunate. The mental state of the malaria miasm, very unfortunate, lamenting and brooding. The fantasies of future plans, but does little because you never know when this attack will come. So it is attacked from time to time and you never know. And you have no control over it. And you can't do anything. So you are always in this state of feeling always hindered, always persecuted. So that is the feeling of the malaria. Unfortunate, hindered, obstructive, persecuted, very harassed. The periodicity goes on, and the intermittent attacks go on and on. So these are the states which he said were not covered by those miasms. The psychotic is slowing down, tuberculosis is hectic activity. So we had put fevers and all in malaria and all typhoid, all into tubercular miasm in the old days. But this is much more, proper. Then you have the ringworm miasm. Okay, this is another state which is not covered by anything. So we just take example of the ringworm. So the ringworm is there, you put some ointment, this and that for a long time, 1 week, 10 days, 1 month, it goes away. But it comes back again. And then while it is gone, you don't do anything. When it comes again, you say, oh, again, I'll put ointment. Third time, you say, oh, it goes away anyway, forget it, I won't do anything. Then after some time, you say, no, this is too troublesome, let me try again. So the ringworm miasm is effort, then giving up. Effort, then giving. Okay? So it reminds me of, try and try again. Of that king who he left the war and he went away. And then he hid behind a rock and he saw the spider. And he said, spider made the net, but made his web. And then the web broke and he fell down. So he started again. He didn't say, oh, my web broke, let me cry, whatever, it always happens to me, only me. And I did so much effort. And no, he just went and made it again. It broke something again, he made it. So he said, if the spider can do it, I can do it. So he went back, fought the war and won. So ringworm miasm is try and try again. So what did you have? Typhoid, which is hopeful. I will come out of it. If I make great effort, I will come out. Malaria, whatever I do, it keeps coming back. So very persecuted and very negative. There's the ringworm saying, okay, I have to try again. So a lot of the diseases like obesity, people do a lot of work and then lose weight, then again start eating, again put on, then they wait for some years, again they do it. So it is try and try again. And it is the teenage kind of miasm. So situation is difficult, beyond easy reach. So between struggle and resignation, success is possible. Failure means staying as I am. So no, I have to make effort. Okay, I get tired of making this effort. No, I'll make much. I'll wait for some time. Let's see, it may go. No, it's not going. So let me do. So they slip back, but they make effort again, try and try again. It's the ringworm miasm. Psychotic miasm, we already know, but just to revise, it is like you want to hide and cover up. So you have some problem. Oh, I always have to wear full sleeve because I have this problem and I don't want it to be seen. I have these warts all over here, my neck. So always wear a high neck. So they want to cover up all the time. Very secretive, all about growth, tumors, about not accepting your own problem, not accepting, but non-accepting, a lot of weakness, avoidance. So this is in the middle age. So we've done womb, all the inner ages, yes? So even the ages are becoming little bit clearer here. So it is psychosis is slowness, suppression, shame, confused, a lot of confusion. Should I do this? Should I do that? Malaria, ringworm was try again. But they were not confused. They were confused. Okay, for some time they waited. But they were not confused. Shall I do it today or tomorrow? I must do it. No, they waited for some. In malaria, they just said, we don't want to do anything. In typhoid, they said, if we do everything, everything will be okay. So here in psychosis, it is confused. And with little less, they're a little bit lazy. So with some effort, they want much more. So they have a lot of delusion, illusion, hallucinations. And they have a lot of non-constructive, negative, fixed ideas. Psychotic like Puja is very fixed. It is miasm of excess. They can work, they have ambition, they drive, and then they slow down. So there may be a lot of compulsiveness. Cancer miasm, we didn't have this at all. Now this also, if you study carcinosin, then it is just like the cancer miasm. What is carcinosin? They care beyond their capacity. So they stretch beyond capacity. So they stretch to cover. They can't cover. It'll tear. They will darn it, but they will make lot of effort. Superhuman effort. They keep darning that thing to cover the hole. They want to cover the hole. They don't want to lose that control. So control cancer miasm. Perfection is cancer miasm. You've seen pictures, everything, even the street they would like proper, with good houses, their own houses in perfect order. Everything must be just so. And to make anything just so, you have to work much more, work beyond your capacity. And you want to make order from chaos. So a lot of cancers and carcinosin, wherever you work so much and you feel you cannot do it. So the feeling is, I don't have the capacity, but I must do it. I need to perform very well and live up to the high expectation, their own high expectation. So reaction is an extreme effort, stretching beyond themselves, beyond endurance, and a long continuous struggle with no end. You had typhoid, which had a struggle, but it had an end and you were well. Malaria, you had this thing, but you always suspicious it came. But here it is, and in psychotic, you just gave up. In cancer miasm, struggle with no end because your survival depends on it. And failure means death. So you have to struggle to get out. You may not get out, that's a difference. Tubercular miasm, again, it is a lot of hectic activity. So anything which is intense, suddenly come out. Sudden high fever, sudden too much bleeding, suddenly everything, and not to do with the respiratory tracts, suffocation, feels I'm trapped. Any change of weather brings your cold, hectic fevers, hectic bleeding, hectic anything is tuberculosis, and lot of oppression. I had one patient who really, lot of activity. He was an old man, 60 plus something, and he says, I will drive myself. I want to go on a long trip from here to Chennai and I'll drive myself. I said, how can you do it alone? You can't go. No, he went. I was treating for cold. I gave him only the tuberculin, and he was well with that. Of course, he died in COVID. So the tubercular miasm, they said always that all the authors died very young. So with a lot of hectic activity when you have, then you can't sustain, so you die. So a lot of the old-time romantic heroines and a lot of authors, the Bronte sisters, so many died very young. So they know by 35 they're going to die. So they do a lot of work. And they're never satisfied with what they do. They want to travel, they want to do things, everything in their short lifespan. And then you have the leprous miasm again, which was never there, and that whole state was never covered by the whole miasm. Why do I keep repeating this? I'm telling you that these miasms are very important. I have given medicines like mandragora, which is in the Solanaceae family, leprous miasm, to a person who was just felt that nobody loves me. I am just left alone and would be in the room. One girl we had with lot of depression, she would just stay in her room. You can say she was autism or schizoid or whatever. But that feeling was that nobody loves me. I don't want to mix with anybody. I feel like an outcast. And she would just come out for food sometimes and then again back in her room. And she felt in the school, it was a new school. Her mother had moved from New Bombay to Powai because her work was closer, important for her to not travel so much. So the husband stayed back and would come in the weekends, and she had to be put in a new school. And this school was very hi-fi, so they thought she's come from New Bombay. So they never took her in. There was once they had a thing, when the school just opened after holiday, and everybody was invited but her. So she felt very leprous, very rejected, very outcasted. And she did very well with Mandragora. And you won't believe, she told me in a week, 2 weeks, she had made friends. And she was going back. And she was a bright girl. And she said, I'm helping so-and-so with maths. So yes. So this miasm understanding can help you choose the remedy. Sometimes you come to the right family, but you only knew Pulsatilla, say, and Staphysagrea. Only that in Ranunculaceae family. And only Staphysagrea had the raw skin. No, Pulsatilla also had, Themisifica also had. So if you know the miasm, so miasm and the family, the cross, you can choose your remedy. And if you don't know the remedy. So rejected. And the leprous miasm, Ben-Hur, if you know the old story of Ben-Hur, where leprosy, things used to just fall off, those kind of leprous people, and their nose would fall off and the toes would fall off. So they were just kept on a faraway island. Nobody ever saw them again. And if you wanted to give food to your mother, when her mother and sister were both there, he had to go just drop it there, and he couldn't see them. Then he would hide, and mother would come out, or sister would take the food covered up and go. He never saw them again ever. So there's a feeling of isolation, of disgust. Nobody wants you. Hopelessness, because you're never going to see your family again. And you are so dirty, nobody wants to see you. So hunted, despair, loathing, confined. These are the leprous states. So intense oppression, intense desire for change, but hopeless, little or no hope of recovery. Intense feeling of isolation, forsaken or abandoned forever. The outcast, despised and shunned by society, friends, even family. Despair, suicidal disposition. So you have Hura, you have Hello, you have Leprosinin, I told you Mandragora, and so on. And the syphilitic miasm, we already know, it has two prongs, the destruction when you have the ulcers and all, degeneration when you have the paralysis. But the common thing is despair, it is the last stage you probably cannot get out. This is old age. And suicidal tendencies, homicidal. All your people who kill, and that fellow who's cut up his wife, girlfriend, whatever you call him, into pieces is definitely syphilitic miasm. So this is hopelessness, beyond salvage, unable to manage, unable to cover up, wants death and depression, or wants to just kill and kill and kill and kill and feel some pleasure in it. So here are the miasms. Aspiration of the head and chronic suction, craving for egg is sora. It's just to tell you some of the symptoms which can tell you which miasm. So yeah, we have done what you really wanted for a long time. And
Sorry, could you just play that acute miasm 2 slides again, please?
oh,
The first of them, if it's possible.
always possible.
Ma'am, also there's a question.
Yeah.
Somebody wants to know that what you consider to be the key tubercular remedies.
Tuberculinum, acylinum, calcarea phos, so many remedies. You have seen, of course, the schema book. It has every family with the. Dr. Vibha, can you help them if they don't have the schema book to get it for them? Do you know
Ma'am, that Sandra's chart wala book has it.
this one?
No, that green one, the Sandra's chart.
Okay, it's not here with me just now. So I'll just show you these. Now, you see any of these? Can you see? Can you all see? Hello, yes or no?
Yes, but I mean, we can't read, ma'am. We can just see the chart.
Okay, that's okay. So what I'm saying is that this is the tubercular, all the families in every family, there will be a tubercular miasm and these will be the families. I can read some of them for you. For ranunculaceae, tubercular is Simicituca. In rosacea, which we did just now, and we've done this remedy, prunus caesarea is the remedy. In rubeaceae, we have coffea and the tubercular miasm. In solanaceae, we have atropine as the tubercular miasm. In violins, which we Bryonia family, cystis. So like that, we have tuberculosis. If we just know all our families, then and we know the miasm, then we can do it. So what we know, for example, Drosera is a tubercular remedy. Then I'll tell you one which you all know. In fungi family, you have Ustilago. In compositae, the Arnica injury family, Abrotinum, and so on. So if you know the family and you know, just have the book and you know the family and you say, oh, this is tubercular miasm, you can find your remedy even if you don't know it. That is the beautiful part of studying this. You know, in the earlier days, we used to just know those remedies and we used to go to the repertory and we used to do that. And yeah. And we would find the remedy, and if we were lucky, we managed to get our remedy. Yeah. Here are the acute somebody wanted. So acute miasm, sudden violent panic, fright, terror, recurrent and non-recurrent. Only 2 slides.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Any other questions? Is this what you wanted? Is this clear? Some of the inner ages also I have done, but inner ages is a big thing. We have to do it separately. Is that okay? Do you all want it? Say yes or no, please.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay. So next time we are going to do that. Preeti and Munira will be contacting you. I'm sorry, but you'll have to pay for the next 4, okay? And next 5 months. So we'll see you again in the first week. I think November will be over. We'll see you in December. Yes? December is my month. So we'll be happy to meet you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vishpala. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, Rama.
Excellent.
That was a wonderful case. And I'm sure Rosidea is going to be, anybody can share whether they will find a remedy. Shahala will find a patient to give this
In
remedy.
fact, I found one today. You won't believe it. I was so thrilled that I gave her the Rosidea and I said, oh, great.
We've also found somebody in our own people, and we are also going to give the remedy. But we are still deciding between Rosidea and Rosidea in that patient, in that person, not patient yet. So we hope
It's
to
amazing.
share it with you. So thank you all. And we've taken
Thank you, ma'am.
full 2 hours almost, because
Yes.
it was very good. I'm happy everybody could stay, at least most of us could stay. But some of them knew miasms already. so maybe they left. That's okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
you,
ma'am.
thank you,
Wonderful
thank you.
sessions. Thank you,
And
Rama, ma'am.
we should
Thank
share
you.
like that. You all enjoyed having Rama, right? Different somebody.
Everybody can do it, ma'am. Everybody can do it.
Yes. We'll ask our other group who know the remedy to share some roses. Okay, then bye.
Thank you. Bye, ma'am.